Oh. Oh. I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. I was just, giggling at my posters, looking and laughing at them. While I got you here, let me ask you a question. Do any of you guys remember the 1985 teen comedy Better Off Dead, directed by the one and only Savage Steve Holland? It's okay if you don't know, because barely anybody does, apparently. I'm the only one. All right, well, since you guys don't know, I'm gonna tell you about it today. Let's. So, Better Off Dead stars a very young John Cusack as Lane Meyer, a high schooler with a passion for skiing and a weird obsession with his girlfriend Beth Truss. Like, seriously, guys, the opening shot of this film is literally just like a huge tracking, like panning shot around his room, and he's got like all these like photographs of Beth just all over, just covering his room. Like, this kid's got it bad. I'm dead serious. To make matters worse, his family is almost as weird as he is, if not even more so. I mean, his dad, Al, played by David Ogden Stiers, rest in power, brother, is pretty normal, but he just has a hard time connecting with Lane. It's kind of a cliche subplot. It's got some good comedic moments in there. Like this one time when he's reading off a book of teen lingo and he's trying to have a conversation with him, and it's just not working out.
I understand there's a New Year's Eve dance at your school. You kids love this disco thing.
Disco? Come on, Dad.
You are really bringing me over, man.
But yeah, he's definitely like the most normal member of the family. His mother, Jenny, played by Kim Darby, is just, it's a weird play on the whole ditzy, kind of got a screwed loose housewife that means well, but ultimately she's just incompetent. Like, she's in this movie, she's always cooking like the weirdest stuff. Like, it crawls off the plate in one part, and it's got like this one like crock pot meal or something that's got like tentacles coming out of it. Like, yeah, you don't want to eat that kind of stuff, okay? And then he's got a little brother named Badger, and he's played by a guy named Scooter Stevens. What the hell was up with all these names? Like, okay, yeah, we're gonna call our son Scooter, we're gonna call him Badger. So Badger is kind of a friggin' genius. He's kind of got one of those cosmic brains going on, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's making like friggin' laser guns that can shoot actual lasers and cause things to spontaneously explode, like, and he can also like bag chicks after just reading a book about it. And the mailman's like, hey, you're a kid, should you not be reading this? And he's just like, he doesn't say anything, he just takes it. Like, he's kind of awesome. He even eventually builds a space shuttle that launches out of the house at the end of the film. Like, where is this kid going? Somebody call NASA or something. What the heck? But seriously, I actually think that Lane's family acts as a really good compliment to both his own character and the film as a whole, because it kind of like pulls you into this absurdist, weird teen comedy realm very early on. It leaves no doubt as to what this film is. Right from the beginning, there's something a little off about this whole thing, but like in a good way. And we haven't even gotten to the plot yet, ladies and gentlemen. So, Lane and Beth meet this huge jerk-off named Roy Stalin. So this Stalin guy is actually the new captain of their high school ski team, and he actually swindles Lane out of a spot on the team because he just doesn't like him for whatever reason, and he wants to get in Beth's pants, and he succeeds because Beth dumps him for Stalin. Like, seriously though, man, these hoes ain't loyal. These hoes are not loyal. This betrayal, of course, sends Lane into a pit of despair and depression, which lasts through most of the film. He ends up going through like 3 suicide attempts. There is a reason why this film is called Better Off Dead. It's not just a stupid title. So, in between his completely amateur attempts to off himself, he also tries to ski the K-12, which is like the tallest, like most dangerous, like mountain in all of the state of Northern California, as his friend Charles DeMar puts it. Oh, you want to know about Charles DeMar? Well, I'll tell you about Charles DeMar, guys. Played by Curtis Armstrong, who was fresh off his role as Booger in the Revenge of the Nerd movie from '84. You guys remember that one? I hope not, because it's not good. So DeMar is essentially this movie's like, not all there, kind of crazy, but in a well-meaning sort of way, kind of friend, who also likes to get his hands on anything that he can so that he can snort it. Like, he snorts Jello, he snorts snow, and he wants to know what is the street value of this snow? You know, I probably didn't get the quote right, but he says something like that. And he's just essentially just this huge loose cannon, but he's also really likable because he always has Lane's back no matter what. He's just really loyal.
I'm right behind you, buddy.
And I really appreciate that about him. And he's probably like one of my favorite characters in the whole film. Of course, he also tries to help Lane ski the K-12 as well by telling him to
go that way really fast.
And
if something gets in your way, turn.
As is to be expected, because otherwise we wouldn't have a movie, Lane fails over and over and over and over and over. With each time he fails, he becomes even more depressed and even more neurotic and even more of a basket case. So eventually, because Stalin has the absolute gall to insult Monique, Lane challenges him to a race down the K-12 for the heart of Beth. So, while all this is going on, the film also has a bunch of appropriately farcical and weird-ass subplots, like the Korean dude who always races Lane in his beat-up old, like, station wagon and always consistently wins because Lane is extremely unobservant. And did I also mention that he learned English by listening to Howard Cosell?
Superiority of the roads, unequal in our lifetime.
There's also one about how Lane somehow has this black 1967 Camaro that is just sitting in a dilapidated state on his garage, and his dad's like, hey, you gotta do something about that, and Lane's like, I don't have the money, or whatever. He can't fix it. Yet. Just wait. Just wait. And of course, I'd be remiss if I did not mention the subplot about the kid who wants his $2.
Well,
the paper boy. You know the one. Even if you haven't seen this film, you may have heard of the whole I want my $2! You know, I never understood why Lane just doesn't just give the guy his $2 and just be done with it. Why doesn't the dad just do it? He's like there's this whole scene where he's protecting his garage door from all these papers that are being like flown through the windows, or thrown through the windows. And like, why doesn't he just pay the $2, man? I don't get it. And yeah, you know how I mentioned that the Paperboy subplot was the most important subplot in the whole film? Well, guess what? I was lying. The realest, really real, most important subplot in this whole film is the relationship between Lane and a young girl named Monique. And by young girl, I mean she's the same age as him. I didn't want you to have any confusion about that. So Monique actually lives across the street from Lane in a house owned by the Smiths, one of which is the hilariously awkward and just creepo Ricky Smith, played by the one and only Dan Schneider. No, I'm not making this up. He was a creep before all this other stuff happened. Like, this has been going on since the 80s, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we can't forget about Ricky's mom, played by Laura Waterbury, who for some reason sounds like a New York Jew with, you know, the whole nasally, stereotypical voice, even though they're supposed to live in California. Maybe the transplants, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, dude. Really, the only thing you need to know about Ricky's mom is that she's just an ass. Like, she's just horribly, horribly unpleasant to be around. You know, she's just really condescending to Monique, and just generally my least favorite character. Which, this brings me to a good point, actually. Throughout the entire film, Lane is like the only one that does not talk down to or try to get something out of Monique. He's the only one that seems to treat her with any sort of, you know, respect or anything like that. You know, he respects Whammon, you know. As an example, there is a scene in the film where the Myers have the Smiths over for some sort of like a banquet for Monique, except they call it Dinner Mondu. Now you may be asking, what the hell is Dinner Mondu? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's the most condescending bullcrap I've ever seen. Like, seriously though, Lane's mom just lays it on super, super thick and just brings out all of these French dishes, like
French fries, French dressing, French bread, and to drink, ta-da, Peru.
And then everyone does that thing where they talk to her really, really slowly, because somehow they think that that's gonna make a difference in her understanding them. Why? Oh yeah. Then Ricky's mom blows up.
Mrs. Smith, no, wait!
Gee,
I'm real sorry your mom blew up, Ricky.
So as I said before, Lane is like the legit only person that actually treats her with some sort of dignity or respect. Right from their very first meeting, he actually takes her seriously, including her desire, her dream, to go to Dodger Stadium in LA. And yeah, it turns out Monique can actually speak English.
But of course I speak English.
So throughout all this absurdity and all this BS they have to go through, Lane and Monique actually develop a really nice chemistry and a really good relationship, and they fall in love by the end. It's really nice. It's sweet. Like, I honestly think their chemistry is like one of the best ever in these teen films, and it's really a shame that there wasn't more of it. Like, you really don't get to see their relationship blossom until like, what, 2/3 of the way through the film, and by then there's not a whole lot of room for it to, you know, grow or like progress anymore. So Monique actually helps Lane to get his Camaro, you know, the one I was talking about before, the one that doesn't work. It turns out she's a mechanic and also a total badass that can actually repair cars, including this old ass Camaro that they have just sitting there. And yeah, like, she's pretty freaking awesome. Not only that, guys, not only that, but she also helps him to ski the K-12 and beat Stalin. That's insane. She also knows how to ski.
I race Stalin tomorrow. Oh my god, I have to get to a cave right now.
With the help of his friends, including for some reason the $2 kid who has been stalking him, like I said, throughout the entire film, he starts chasing them with like this bike fitted with skis down the mountain as Lane and Stalin are racing, you know. And then he falls off of a massive, massive cliff and f***ing dies. Nah, I'm just kidding. He actually survives. Somehow. Lane actually ends up beating Stalin at his own game, and he wins back the heart of his beloved.
You fiend! Man, you're the hottest thing since Sunburn!
And the movie is now complete. Just kidding, mother. So Lane actually ends up coming to his senses, thank God, and rejects that bimbo Beth for the one and only Monique Junot. Of course, we're not over yet. No, we're not over yet. After a climactic ski pole fencing match between Lane and Ricky that ends up with Ricky finding his own true love, just randomly bumps into this girl who looks like him and acts like him. So it's like a perfect match. Lane and Monique decide to race away in the new Camaro that they just built together, and they're flying down the highway, and it's actually really satisfying. And then once they finally get to Dodger Stadium, Lane and Monique just start making out on the hood of the Camaro while it sits on home plate in a completely empty and deserted Dodger Stadium. because why the hell not? That's not even the weirdest part of this whole film. No, like, I didn't even mention the scene midway through the film that features a claymation hamburger miming to Van Halen's Everybody Wants Some. Like, it's pretty awesome though. So, in case you haven't deduced it already, I think this film is absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's obviously not without its flaws, but a lot of those flaws can be explained by the fact that this was Savage Steve Holland's first film, and it was also a really low budget. And I mean, I feel like they accomplished a lot given both of those two variables. In fact, I actually think that it benefits from having such a low budget and for being his first film. Mr. Holland, Mr. Savage Steve Holland really goes for it in this film. Like, he doesn't really pull much back, which some people might say it's a detriment, but to me, I think that's one of the film's strengths. It just goes for it. It's balls to the wall, man. There's no other teen comedy that's quite like it. There's some like really charming 2D and claymation animation spread throughout the film, and it's also got some really nice but kind of a bit too brief dark comedy segments. I kind of wish there was more. Of course, it's also got some really good performances by, you know, John Cusack, Curtis Armstrong, and Diane Franklin, who I forgot to mention plays Monique. She's awesome and also really nice, apparently.
You know, I think you're kind of remarkable.
No matter how absurd their role, everybody plays their roles with conviction. And that's pretty commendable for a film like this that easily could have been just slapped together, but no, it feels like it actually has some heart to it. The subplots are all pretty magical and unique in their own special ways, and I think that they all kind of come together with the plot to make this weird world that's somewhere between a dream and hell. Like, no matter how weird or twisted or surreal things start to become, it's all grounded by John Cusack's performance. Like, Lane is a great character simply because he's very relatable. He's an everyman, he's an every teenager, I guess you could say. And he makes it so that the film doesn't become too out there, even though he is a bit crazy in and of himself.
See, the problem here is that my little brother this morning, he got his arm caught in the microwave, and my grandmother dropped acid and she freaked out and hijacked a school bus full of penguins. So it's kind of a family crisis, so come back later, great.
He's still a human being. You know, we know what he wants. I mean, yeah, like I said, his obsession with Beth is next level weirdness, but by the end of the film, he grows out of it and he becomes a better man. He goes through an arc, which is really awesome because most films don't even bother to do that. So, guys, I actually have a bit of a confession to make. I have nostalgia for this film. Yeah, okay. I admit it. I have bias, yeah. My dad gave me this film when I was in high school, and I watched it. And I was like, yeah, I like that. That's why I like this film. You know, it's rough around the edges, but it's still good. You know, you don't need to beat me up about it. But if I can be serious here for a moment, I don't know how I would be if I hadn't watched this film. Like, this film really did a number on me when I was, I don't know, like 16, like 15, 16, like however old I was when I watched it. Like, I'd never before seen a film that was just so unapologetically weird and just so out there. But at the same time, it offered a really, like, almost biting critique or like a satire or whatever you want to call it of like teen life and like high schools and stuff. It's nothing really, I mean, well, that part of it is not really new, and it wasn't even really all that new back then, I guess. But nobody had ever really made it quite like that before, and I'd certainly never seen anything like it. And you know what this film taught me, man? It taught me to keep going in times of hardship, that friends are like the best things you can possibly have. It also taught me on an unrelated note that suicide attempts almost always fail, so why even bother anyway?
Suicide is never the answer, little trooper.
I mean, even the friggin' poster, man. The poster says, you're never really better off dead. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, man. There's always something to keep striving for, no matter what you really think. There's never really any reason to off yourself, and I think that's kind of the whole point of this film.
Dying when you're not really sick is really sick, you know?
Because remember,
nothing is forever, and the darkest hour is just before the dawn.
Alright, we might be getting a little bit too deep for a film that came out in 85, directed by some guy named Savage Steve Holland. But I mean, I gotta give credit where credit's due. It's a good film, okay? So just watch it! If you don't watch this film, I don't know how to end this.
We're through. That's it.